Welcome to Unfiltered Three, spilling the tea with Cece,
Autumn,
and Brie.
Hi, friends.
Hope you're having a wonderful day.
Yeah.
I was like, what else am I supposed to say besides that? I don't remember.
It's a great day.
So what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so our last episode we did a reading off of our summer goals, and I mentioned love languages a couple times, and I just thought that that would be a cool conversation for us to kind of just have, maybe touch base on like, what are the 5 love languages, how they relate to us, what are our love languages, both romantic and platonic, and then and for our listeners to share what yours are and how learning about it has affected you and your relationships. And maybe this is the first time you've ever hearing of them. Give us your genuine feedback. But I just thought that it would be a nice, easy flow conversation for us to have, and it would be fun to talk about.
Yeah, and help me discover what mine is for friendships, because I know what mine is in romantic, but I'm clueless as far as friendships, if I'm being completely honest.
I have been trying to decipher the two because I feel like I have a couple that kind of go both ways. And then I have certain ones for, my partner and then for my friends. But I do want to just start with, like what are the 5 love languages? And so you have words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch.
Mhm.
And so I think that they can be so different. I don't know. So for me, like physical touch would be strictly romantic unless I'm
Definitely.
very comfortable with you. If I'm very comfortable with you, then yes, I would love to hug you. But it does take me a while to get there.
Yeah.
But most of the time, like I love when Derek will just grab my hand and hold my hand, or put his arm around my shoulders while we're walking, or give me a hug, or just like any of those like little moments of just like a brief touch. Like I love that shit.
Oh, I crave it.
Mhm.
I need more.
Mhm.
Like, I get those moments where I need to like crawl inside of his skin because I need more physical touch and it's just not enough. Like, that is my biggest one, absolutely.
Yeah.
Romantically.
I feel like quality time is one that I cherish with friends the most. Just because
Definitely.
I like to that and gifts. Like I freaking love buying things for people
Mm-hmm.
that I love.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I love finding that perfect gift, whether it be like something small that I made. I don't know. I just fucking love it. I love it so much. And for a while, I was deterred from it because I got taken advantage of by people that didn't care about me and were just, taking from my cup, and
Mhm.
not pouring in as well. And so I stopped doing it. But then through you guys, I started again.
Yeah.
It takes me a while to learn. I don't know. I send you guys pictures because I see things and it makes me think of you or think, "Oh, they would look good in this or they might like this." But I get so worried that if I just bought it, like you guys might not like it. And so that's where I like get myself like, you know, I send them instead of just getting them because I think, "Oh, I need to really nail it on the head." So I go through this process of trying to learn.
I think there's an element there that I've learned, at least with you, is that you're getting to know me. And by sending me those pictures, you're getting to know me on a deeper level and helping me also saying what I like and learning about myself too. And you've opened up a whole new world to me because of that.
You've
Oh, that makes
also
me feel
allowed
good.
us to say no without a negative response. That is something that I have learned from you through that love language of yours, is that I can be like, hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no, Cece. That's
Yeah.
not me. But no, but you know that it's not me rejecting you. It's just
Yes.
me saying, no, that I wouldn't wear that. And I want to cherish the gifts that you do give me
Yeah.
because I love that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad you guys get me, and I'm not just like, "Man, it's always a miss." But, like, every once in a while, though, you guys are like, "Yeah." So then,
Mm. But like
I want more of that.
you know how they say it's the thought that counts? Like the fact that you're sending us those things, it means that one, you were thinking of us, but also you're putting in effort to get to know us more too.
Mm,
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
cherish that.
Mhm.
alright. Well, I see this again, this is why I like talking. I need that different perspective.
Mhm.
Always. I cherish it, I love it, and I learn from it.
Oh, this is gonna
That's
be an episode, guys.
that's almost in a way like a mix of like I'd almost say like you like acts of service. 'Cause I just reread this and it's receiving gifts, not giving gifts. I guess giving gifts would be acts of service.
Oh, interesting.
Acts of service are like one of the best examples I can give is like if your wife has been having a hard day. I'm specifically referencing a video, which is why I say wife, is having a rough day and she's in the shower, the husband or partner will go and take her robe and her towels and throw it in the dryer real quick so that they're warm when she gets out.
I think in a way what Sia does is like that though.
I definitely think I like doing acts of service.
Yeah, cuz like
And
it's eventually she'll know exactly who we are and what we like and then
Mm.
she'll be like, "Oh, I can see how that can benefit Bree in this way." And it would be
Yeah.
very similar to
yeah.
throwing
Yeah.
the robe or the
Huh.
towel into the dryer.
Like I
I've
feel like
never
acts of service and gift giving are very like there's kind of more of a blurry line there compared to the rest of them and I think that's a good way to put that to
Yeah.
distinguish that. Yeah.
because I would be the type of person who would throw the towels in so they're warm because,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, because I
So yeah.
love giving gifts, but I'm horrible at receiving them.
Oh,
I always feel so
me
awkward at
too.
receiving gifts, and, like, I wanna give it to you, but I want to receive it back, don't get me wrong, I want to receive it back. I'm just weird.
Mhm.
I'm just awkward with it, like, it's not acceptable, and that's growth that I have to go through,
I
but
also think it's because our emotions run so deep
yeah.
that if we don't, if we don't hit that note for that person, and
Mhm.
am that excited, then we almost feel a disappointment, like we let them down. That's sometimes how I feel.
Yeah, that recovering people pleaser aspect of like
Probably,
Yeah,
wanting to
yeah.
probably.
keep your reaction in mind of like how you want them to feel off of your reaction.
Mhm.
But there's also that like you kind of script yours, or at least I do. I script myself during birthdays
No,
and
I do. I
Christmas and
in my
times of
head.
gift
Oh,
giving. And a great example of that is when you receive a card and there's something in it. You open it, you ignore what's placed inside for a second. You read the card, you
uh-huh.
make sure you have your moment there, and then it's like, oh,
Yes.
as if it wasn't in your face that whole time. And it's like,
Yes.
thank you. Then, like, that's a whole script. Well,
Huh.
I genuinely am excited for that, and I
Mhm.
genuinely am reading the card and feeling the moment. It's a whole moment of quietness of me reading the card and having that whole moment where I'm like, "Eh."
And you feel like it's an hour when it's actually like 2 seconds. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
trust. Oh.
I had it's being the center of attention, right? Because like,
Mhm.
I chopped my hair the other day, and I I moved apartments at my job, and so I went up to my old apartment to see my old coworkers and show them my hair, and my old manager was like, "Look at Autumn's hair," and then there was, like, 5 girls just staring at me, and I was like, "Retreat." Retreat, because like,
Yeah.
yeah, I wanna show you my hair, I'm super excited about it. I wanna share the excitement, I wanna talk about it, I'm like, "People touch it, it's so soft," I'm super hyped, but then you're looking at "N don't look at me.
I know. Yeah.
Don't look at me, don't share the excitement with me." Even though I want you to.
Oh.
Oh, but yeah. Words of how about, like, words of affirmation for you guys?
I think if anything, that's my friendship one. At least that's the one I'm leaning towards with friendship ones. It's when I make a point to at least say verbally, I want to make sure the person I'm talking to knows how much I care about them or cherish a moment or like that positive reinforcement. If it's like, hey, I really appreciated when you did this thing for me, or having those more difficult conversations and then afterwards being like, I really appreciated that we had this conversation and kind of regrouping after that. I think that's one of my strongest one with friends, but I also think physical touch is still there, specifically with people who don't also feel like awkward about physical touch. Like the people who are just naturally like, I want to hug you, or like I'm
Mhm.
gonna sit right next to you, and
Mm,
I'm just I'm
mhm.
comfortable. Like there's people like that in my life where I'm like, oh, this is really nice. I
Oh.
do like this. But then when I try and I'm not that person
Uh-huh.
with friends. And if they're not that kind of person in friendships, then I'm like, this is I don't know. I feel, like it has to be with the right kind of person, I guess, for
Yeah.
that one.
Well, maybe because that person who's already like, oh my God, like physical touch is second nature for them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to guess.
Yeah.
And then the other way around, you kind of have to be like, oh, am I overstepping a boundary almost in a way? Yeah.
Where you test the waters a little.
Yeah. And I think that just comes through, learning each other.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I will get the urge to hug you guys, but then I've been so I used to hug my friends in high school all the time. All the time. And we would hug each other goodbye. We would say hi. Like I used to my high school best friend run and jump into her arms.
Yeah.
It was just so innocent almost in a way. Like I didn't have that trauma that I
Mm.
have now that stops me every time. But now that I know that, I'm gonna hug you.
I know. Ugh.
There will be a period like
I'm
with
not gonna
people
just
like
come out
that.
and like grab you,
Yeah.
but
There's like a period of transition where I'm like, is this okay? Is this okay? It is okay. Like I have to like, okay, it is okay. Okay, I'm comfortable with this. Are they comfortable with this? Oh, okay.
Is this awkward?
See,
It's a little awkward.
I
We're
would
gonna get through the
I would
awkward.
Yeah.
hug you. I would totally hug you. Like no problems. I'd love it. I I know how you feel about hugs, Autumn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I totally would hug you, but I don't because
You just gotta catch me at the right time. My problem is like when my anxiety is bad, I don't want to be touched.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of my issue. And I think that stems, from past trauma and stuff.
yeah.
But I just yeah.
Because sometimes I definitely hold back certain things on myself because I'm like, out of respect, I know she doesn't love a hug, or out of
But you could always
respect.
ask.
That's true. But again,
I'm
you guys know I'm not the best at communication, and that is a
yeah.
skill I am working on.
Mhm.
Yes, and you're doing very well.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Yeah, if you ever like, Autumn, do you want a hug? I don't, unless I'm, experiencing that weight on my chest, I'm probably not going to say no. I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll take a hug. And after a couple times, it'll feel less awkward for me.
So we do, what you're
Because
saying
I've
is we need a
actually,
couple of group hugs now and then.
well, I hug my
Oh.
cousins every time I see them. And
Family's different.
Mm.
yeah, I guess so.
Because you have a weird combo of family friend.
Yeah,
It
that's
crosses
true.
lines on,
I hug Grace.
but she's like family.
I wouldn't consider her any different than you two.
I've known her so long too that I'm like,
Yeah.
to me, my friends are family. Very much so.
It's just the time that you've probably wanted to hug me is when I'm moving through a deep emotion
Mm-hmm.
and when I don't want to be
Yeah.
touched. Probably because I'm like, okay, someone's here while I'm doing this. This is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like people to look at me, especially like when I'm crying or when I'm dealing with something really heavy.
Mhm.
I just want to turn into a corner and be I can talk to you just fine, but
But
I
it's
can't
also like
look.
refreshing. It's like awkward and weird, right? But it's also like refreshing that it's okay.
Yeah.
And that like I'm not gonna get shut down. I'm not gonna get told to shut up or stop being over dramatic or
Ugh,
whatever bullshit I
that
used to
line.
hear.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird. I remember the first time Brie was like, "You're valid in your feelings," and I hear you, and I just looked at her like, "Okay." Like just so thrown off.
Mm-hmm.
So thrown off.
Yeah.
But we had great conversations that
Mm.
night. Great conversations that night.
Honestly, if deep conversations were a love language, that would be my love language.
Mhm. Mhm. I wonder I think that would maybe like if it were to fall under one like quality time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's never when we're like out doing stuff. It's always when it's just us in one of our bedrooms on our bed or in our podcast room or in on a porch tanning, whatever it may be. It's very like low key, quality time,
Mhm.
quiet. We're just talking about random shit.
Yeah. But not the weather.
Not the weather. No, these are deep, meaningful conversations, not small talk. And when we try to do small talk, we just laugh because it's awkward. It's just so awkward. So awkward. I
Yeah.
give kudos to whoever can do it. Teach me.
Or just let me hang out with you at a party so you can do all the work and I can
Yes.
just
Yes.
be chill.
Yep. Yep.
Those awkward moments where I come out of my shell a little bit.
I'll always say this. I am an introvert in an extrovert setting, but an extrovert in an introvert setting. I can be the bubbly, outgoing one if no one else around me. They're more reserved. But
Yeah.
I will be shy as fuck if everyone else is big and bubbly. I will
Yeah.
just be like, "You got this? Okay." Wallflower.
Yes, you are my extroverted introvert in that, like, when we are in the settings where you're really the only one being extroverted, you take that pressure off of me and I can relax and I know that it's okay.
And then the other setting, you have a buddy going through it with you.
Yes, exactly.
See, you are that for me. You're my extroverted friend.
When I need to be or when I can actually handle it, yeah, I can I
Mhm.
can I don't know, talk. Not right now, but I can do it.
Yeah, I haven't really been
Yeah.
at a party with you yet outside of like a family function, but that's a little different, I think, for me. But I would definitely lean on you for support at a party for sure. Because I also think that you keep in mind that you're not constantly moving from group to group talking to people as much. Because I feel like when I'm buddying with that kind of person, I feel like I'm just a little puppy dog following them
Yes, I
around.
hate
Mm,
that. I
Yeah.
dislike that so strongly.
And
I don't,
I'm like,
yeah.
all right, I'll just go sit in the corner
Mhm.
then.
yeah, I definitely like to find a cozy spot and then whoever comes around, I can chat with you, no problem. But
Well, see, that's the thing. If you're going to come and talk to me, we're golden. I
mhm.
can get to know you if you're going to start the conversation. But if you expect me to start the conversation with you, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen till about the fourth or fifth time we've been around each other. And I've been able to watch your interactions and figure out who you are.
Yeah.
Cuz yeah. Eek.
Yeah, that's where my quirky side comes out cuz then I'll like nerd out a little bit if I can find a topic. Like if I see someone talking, whatever, I'll be like, "Oh my god, there's my person that I'm going to talk to." Almost like connection. I don't know. I won't talk to some people or it just freaks me out too much. I never know. I'm such a
But I would hardly ever go up to someone and be like,
yeah, I don't
I'm gonna be friends with that person. I could be like, oh, her and I would get along really well. I ain't saying nothing to her though.
Mm-mm.
Like when I had to first move back here and like make friends, I was completely okay with the fact that I was never gonna have any friends because I
mm,
just wasn't gonna start that conversation and people weren't starting the conversation with me.
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. Before Andy and I got together, I was planning on moving out west on my own. It wouldn't have been in California with my family because it's expensive as hell to live out there. So I was full set on I'm just going to be alone. I'm going to do in vitro to have my own child, and I'm just not going to make any friends because how will I make any friends? Like, I am the introverted of introverted, and I'm sure I would have met people, fate happens, but I was like, I'm okay
yeah.
with this.
Mm.
But I'm not. I'm here and I'm glad I
Yeah, yeah.
am.
So I feel like we kind of like roughly touched on each of them. I think it would be kind of fun to like go through and be like, I don't know, like a percentage of what you think each one is for you.
Ooh, okay.
So why don't we rank these like 1 to 5? Like
Okay, we
which
could do one to
ones?
five. The only thing I want to do though is I want to do 1 to 5 with friends and then 1 to 5 with
Okay.
like your partner, your romantic life.
Okay.
I'm like, which one would I put at the top?
All right.
We'll do friends first. We'll just do that first. Make it. Oh,
Okay.
sorry. Do you want to do partners first?
We could do either.
Okay. We'll do friends first. So the first one is words of affirmation. Where would you put that? 1 through 5.
Oh,
I feel like I'd put it at a 3.
I have to like actually make my list first.
I think I'm 50-50 for number one with words of affirmation and quality time.
Yeah, quality time
Quality
number
time's my
one.
number one, which makes sense with the three of us.
Yeah.
I think for number 2 would be acts of service. And then 3 would be words of affirmation. Because like I like words of affirmation, but I'm really good at picking up a vibe. So I don't feel like I need the words as much. And then physical touch. And what was that? Receiving gifts would be dead last for me. I like to receive them, but I really love giving them more than I like to receive them.
I just quickly jotted down that number one, quality time. We said that. Acts of service is number 2 with me, or 4, whatever you want to do. Then gifts, because I love gifting and receiving, and it means I think about it a lot,
Mhm.
how I explained. And then words, then touch. That's definitely my ranking
Okay.
for friends.
So it's like it's kind of hard. The more we talk about it, the more I'm like, well, shit. Because
Yeah.
then like you receive, so like your love languages are different for receiving, and then your love languages are different for giving, right? So like you can receive a love language, but also give a different love language. So it's like,
Mm.
how in depth are we getting here?
Yeah. That's
I just tried to be like, all right, like I didn't want to dive too deep into it, but
I mean, why
well,
not?
if you go
yeah.
even deeper, so I started off finding the love languages, going down that tunnel, whatever. I forgot who actually was the person who did that research and brought them to the surface, but
Dr. Gary Chapman
yeah,
created the
Oh.
concept.
Hmm.
there's also like different love languages outside of that if you're neurodivergent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I feel like I don't know those as well. I've heard that
Yeah,
concept. I've started to kind of look into it, but I
I
feel like
do.
with friendships, there might be more of a answer there for me.
So
Mm.
I see under that there's like, okay, what are the 7 different love languages? And it says activity, appreciation, emotional, financial, intellectual, physical, and practical.
Hmm.
I
I'm
don't
gonna,
know, huh?
I'm gonna need more general, like,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
but
don't,
some
it
of those are
just,
like practical. Okay, what is that? Like, you both have logical thinking and you share that or something. Like, what does that mean?
Oh, interesting. See.
or I think like, I don't know. Let's see here. I don't know how credible this is. It says .org. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Mm.
Okay, so activity. People who focus on the activity love language feel unique and valued when their partner takes an interest in their hobbies and activities and makes an effort to enjoy hobbies and interests together.
See, I would clump that under quality time.
Mm.
But it's that extra like oomph of I know you like this, so that's why I'm trying to. So is it the same? Oh,
It's a
because I do
different
like
layer.
I like that, you know.
Appreciation. People who focus on the appreciation love language feel loved when their partner gives them compliments, praise, and thanks. They appreciate hearing explicitly what their partner likes and admires about them. So it's more than just words of affirmation because it's not just like, "Oh, I love you. I appreciate you doing that." It's like, "I love your hair like that. That color looks so beautiful on you." It's more direct.
Mm.
That's definitely a love language for me.
Yeah, I get awkward. So emotional. Those who focus on the emotional love language feel loved when their partner can connect with them and support them through complex and scary emotions. Being present for the highs and lows is very important to those with emotional love language.
That's definitely me in a romantic sense.
Mm.
I was alone through all of it in my childhood. The fact that I have someone there to actually help me through it now is really important to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's financial. People with the financial love language feel loved when their partner is generous with resources and sees value in spending money to bring their partner pleasure and joy. This love language may be expressed through gifts or just making space in the family budget for your partner's enjoyment.
Mm.
Hmm.
And then you have intellectual. People with the intellectual love language like to connect through the mind. They feel loved when their partner values their intelligence, respects their opinion, and participates in thoughtful discussion of important issues.
Does that connect with deep conversations?
Maybe. Physical. People with the physical love language feel loved when they receive physical affection, no, hugs, holding hands, and snuggles. They want their partner to show their attraction and initiate loving touch, not love touching.
Well, no.
I'm sure that's a part of it. And then practical. People with the practical love language feel loved when their partners chip in with everyday duties and responsibilities. They feel cared for when their loved ones do chores and offer help. That's what I was going to say earlier. It's like practical gifts. It's like your knives are really dull, so I'm going to get you new knives, or I'm just going to sharpen those knives for you.
Mhm.
Stuff kind of like that. I would say that's probably one of mine. I just like those small gestures, like leaving the door open or opening the door for you.
Mhm.
I don't know, making dinner before I get home, like those, just like those kind of things. Like I love that shit.
Yeah, I love when John cooks for me,
Hmm.
and then we have like a nice conversation during dinner. Like that's just really nice quality time, and I enjoy it very much.
I feel like that connects back to earlier where we was like, oh, that's probably acts of service with Sia and the sending us pictures and texts
Hmm.
about the
Mm.
things because it's that like, oh, you thought of me
Hmm.
feeling.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
Feels good.
it does feel good. So Brie, I feel like you have the most implemented knowledge of the love languages, right? Because you've kind of been studying them, what I feel is longer than
Probably.
you and I, or Sia and I. In what way has it been able to be impactful to your relationships?
Oof. With the relationship to myself, I have a better understanding of myself and how I work. So I'm able to communicate that to my friends and the romantic relationship so that I have better communication of like I'm feeling like my need isn't met. I always say like when my physical touch meter, I haven't had those small touches or whatever. I'm like my love meter's low.
You say
And
that
he
to
knows.
Andrew?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Like a little sim, like my touch meter, my love meter's low.
Oh.
So I need more touches. Like I'm able to communicate that because I know like I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling like a little disconnected or something. I know what that is and I know how to communicate that.
Mm.
And in the reverse, the people around me, as they learn themselves, I'm able to learn what theirs are.
Hmm.
And so I'm able to show them love and connection through their own love languages instead of like through my own.
Right, right, right.
Because we have a natural tendency of like, oh, this is how I like to feel loved. So I'm going to show them how I know to feel loved by what I
Mm.
like. But
Hmm.
as you learn the other person and what they love to do, it's like I have genuine happiness knowing that you are feeling loved now because I am filling your cup the way that you need it to be filled.
Hmm.
So I think that's kind of what I've seen the most by implementing it.
Okay, that's
Mm.
super cool. What got you into it?
I took a class in college called Emotional Wellness, and it was my favorite class. I talk about it a lot. I will be talking about it a lot on the podcast, but it was almost like group therapy, and we talked about personality tests. We talked about love languages. We touched on all the things that I can't think of outside of love languages right now because my mind is so focused on this topic. But we touched on it, and that class was just such a feel good class. And I've learned so much through it and being able to implement it into my life in general. I've seen a big change, big improvement. And then also because I was in wellness management, I had to learn how to create programs and stuff like that. So I learned how to help other people find that and implement it into their lives and whatever. And it was just really nice.
That's awesome. I love
Yeah.
that.
It sounds like a class I would love.
Oh,
Mm.
yes.
It sounds like a class I would love now. Probably wouldn't have liked it then.
Mhm.
It was a lot of
Talking about my feelings with strangers.
Yeah.
she she was a therapist, and she just immediately from the start, she's like, fuck the desks. We're all sitting in a big circle, and like she had these almost like the team building exercises that you do in the workplace or something like that,
Mhm.
where you're just kind of forced to connect and get to know each other. We weren't getting into the feelings right away, so we had this like, oh, we did this thing together and we accomplished this. Like it was very all psychological in the way that she built the class.
Hmm.
And then we ended up all talking about our feelings, and we are like, I did not expect to get into this in this class, but okay. It was a really cool experience.
That's awesome. That's good. Teachers matter, man.
Oh yeah.
They make the difference.
The
But
people who you have around you, you know,
mhm, mhm.
it really does affect your life.
So what about you? What about you guys? Going from here, are you already implementing some of these things? Are you like where are you at in terms of this?
So I've known about love languages for I would I would say a couple years now. Obviously, I think it like trended on TikTok or whatnot, but I think I learned about it from you, like in a passing conversation or something. I'm not sure.
Mm.
Obviously, I'm aware of my own. I've been trying to learn my partner, Derek's, because I don't he's not aware. But I definitely know that physical touch is one of his,
Mm.
but in a private setting.
Mm.
Like, he doesn't like it, like, he's not a PDA type person, or
Hmm.
not a big PDA type person, but he loves physical touch when it's just us or, like, a small group of people that he's comfortable with. And yeah, it's just honestly having that knowledge and being able to implement it into our relationship has just helped us better understand each other. And the fact of like, okay, so like right now, I'm not rejecting you. I'm just not feeling your love language in the way that you needed it in that moment. And then
Mhm.
being able to like, then do that and implement that in that way. And just have that, it kind of just helps the communication, like
Yeah.
you said.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's still a work in progress, as
Always.
we constantly are.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, it's just been it's a cool revelation almost in a way of like a new perspective on how to better, like you said, understand yourself, but also better understand your relationship with your partner. Friendships is a new one.
Mm.
Hmm.
Friendships is definitely a new one. That's a thought that I had
Yeah, I mean,
that
I
last
think
episode.
deep friendships in general like this, I've only carried one friend through, I've had her since kindergarten. So outside of that, you guys are my first, and I'm like, okay, I'm just kind of figuring it out with you
Mhm.
guys
Mhm.
too.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, since our first conversation about this, I've never really thought about it too much. I've been like, oh, love languages, sure, whatever. But now, like, John and I have had a couple conversations about it, and it's interesting because before I think I would have shut down, but now I'm like, no, I really like that because of this, and definitely has helped. I don't,
Good.
Well, it's like
opening up
a
the
yeah, it's
conversation.
like a you're creating a stronger bond and
Yeah.
you're able to now be fulfilled and heard in other ways other
Yeah.
than just having to outright communicate it, right? So I
Mhm.
think it like boils down to like women always just want to be heard, but we don't want to have to say it. And it's kind of
Mhm.
like that's the love language aspect that we're trying to get fulfilled. And I don't want to just single out women because it's people as a whole,
Mhm.
but that's just like the common phrase.
Yeah.
Mhm. I am definitely one of the ones that you mentioned, which was when I look for certain words from John, like do I look pretty today?
Words
Like
of affirmation.
yes,
Mhm.
but it was deeper than that in the one.
Part of the 7.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So I will say, well, do I look pretty today? And he might give me his honest truth when in reality I'm like, no, I just want you to say I look really good. But yeah, I like his honesty because he goes, well, what does it matter? You wear it because it makes you happy. So even though I'm not getting the response I want, I get the real like, "Hey, aren't you wearing this because you love it?"
Yeah, yeah, that's still in a way building you up because it's building up that confidence of like you be your authentic self. Be you,
Mm-hmm.
like own it. Like if you feel good in it, great. You know.
It's for you.
Yeah.
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 Your
And
style is a representation
he
of
might
you.
not wear it for himself, obviously, or get it, but he sees me wearing it with confidence and he likes it.
And he
So,
supports
Mhm.
it.
yeah.
Yeah, because he supports you.
So it's
Absolutely.
pretty nice.
I'm excited because I definitely want to learn more about this topic. This is just a loose conversation on it. I would love to touch back on it later on. We can do like another episode. If you guys have any thoughts, like please share them. If you've learned more, if you have resources, books, anything like that, please do recommend them. I love to read. I don't necessarily read self-help books,
Mm.
but if you send them my way, I will.
See that's my books.
I
I live reading into all the academic scholarly journals
I
and stuff
like a
like that too.
story. I like a story. I really like a story.
And once they read them, then they conversate with me about them, and then I learn because I am not a reader.
But yeah, if you have any info or advice, or not advice, but input on the neurodivergent love languages too, that's definitely something I'll be looking into deeper when we have this conversation or
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm
revisit this
curious.
conversation again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Unfiltered 3. Remember, we release new episodes every Monday. But if that's not enough, connect with us on our socials at Unfiltered 3, where we can uplift, inspire, and embark on this journey together. Thank you for listening and for being a part of our community. Until next time, take care and keep shining your authentic light. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.